Hello and welcome back to SRB Gaming. Today we have more real solar system on Kerbal Space Program. Yeah, it's taken a lot of time, but we've got to return to the moon of Phobos today in orbit around Mars. If you go to the channel, you'll be able to see my earlier mission here, but I'll just give you a summary of what this video is going to include. So basically, we've got a landing of the new lightweight lander with mining equipment. Once we land, I bolt it down so that it doesn't bounce away, and then begin mining, and at the very end you'll see the emergency transfer and rescue stage I have left in orbit around Phobos. So basically, I had already landed something on Phobos, but I figured, well, it's kind of an elaborate project, but basically if you've heard of a space elevator, it's like a large tower leading up from, well, very large, from a planet, and it would theoretically make getting things into orbit far faster. Now, that's not really possible on KSP, but what I did want to do is use the CAS mod to make a tower, maybe 500 meters tall on Phobos, and since Phobos is so tiny, that's actually rather significant, and the gravity is so low that you can almost disregard it, assuming you aren't, assuming you don't wait too long above it. Anyway, I changed the config so that the XL support structures would be available to CAS, and before anyone says that's overpowered, they still weigh 1/3 of a ton each, so it's going to be hard to haul them out here. But anyway, if I can get, it's going to take a lot of trips, but eventually I hope to build a big tower going up, and hopefully there aren't any performance issues. Once I get there, I don't know if I can, but maybe I'll be able to dock with it, and if I can do that, it would make landing so much easier, because the delta V requirements are not much here, but due to limitations of time warp and the fact that you have to accelerate yourself down, and you have to bolt yourself down, it's really difficult, and it's really easy to tip over, and if that happens, well, you can't take off again. And so I actually ended up coming down on a ledge over a large crater on Phobos. That was not exactly intended, but I took it. It was a landing. Nowhere near my original landing site, actually on the opposite side of the moon. You'll kind of see it through the ground, a little highlighted thing. Anyway, the landing's coming up soon. So what happened with this is it actually tipped over, and I had to quickly fold in the solar panels before they broke. And then it was a little unstable, so I eventually popped out the Kerbal, and he was able to fix the problem by bolting himself down with a CAS pipe. What I have on board this ship is a USI Exploration pack capsule, which is very, very small, weighs very little. It kind of looks like a tiny cupola. And then anyway, liquid fuel tank. Not that much delta V in this, but it doesn't really need it. Landing legs, one grapple. I've got one magnetic grapple just in case I ever needed to dock with something. And then I've got a couple crates with supplies, and I've got a Karbonite tank and 2 mini Karbonite drills. So what you'll see here is eventually I take out the Karbonite drills and put them on the pillars. And what that does is, and I found out that the rate here is about 0.003 Karbonite per second. And I know that's really low, but the solar panels are almost sufficient to power it. So what I can do is just time warp while the drills are running. And yeah, that allows me to completely refill my tank. It does take a little while, but I can completely refuel with this thing. And assuming I can get my 500 meter tower properly, which I'm not making any promises on that, but I'm going to do my best, and I'll have a video on that. If that does work, I could have refueling stations where ships wouldn't actually have to land. They could just come within 500 meters of the surface, which is significant on Phobos. This mission was my first mission on a real solar system to actually leave an orbiter out there. It's just a big orange tank. You'll see it at the very end of the video, so watch for that. Big orange tank with nuclear rocket engines on it, and an inflatable rescue ship from USI Survivability pack. That's if it has to go back to Mars or Earth, it can do that. And that actually has quite a circular orbit. So anyway, just about Phobos. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but just another interesting fact. Phobos is being pulled in, I believe, 1 meter a year due to tidal forces. So in 50 million years, it'll actually either break up or crash into Mars. that is according to the current orbit it's in, which is interesting. This Kerbal is not planned to go on a risk back to Earth at this point. Someone mentioned it in the last video. Okay, I'll tell you why I don't really do return trips in this. First of all, RSS, yeah, so the engines are underpowered because they're optimized for Kerbin. And second, honestly, here's the truth. Return missions are a bit boring. I mean, if I'm going to get to this planet, I'm going to stay there. Kerbals are immortal. Maybe if I get TAC life support, I'll go back. But, you know, I'd rather stay here than go back to Earth. But I just left. Wow, what fun. Yeah. So, the drilling went well here. I don't know. I didn't bring a Karbonite scanner, which I should have done. But these radial drills work very well. And I did try to send a probe here after this video where I brought along a bunch of those XL struts, XL structural supports to start building the tower. And I actually ended up in a retrograde orbit around Mars, which, yeah, that didn't really work. I ran out of fuel. That's up there right now, and I'm going to have to send a new one. Thankfully, it was just a probe. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. There will be a subscribe button at the end of the video up on the screen. Please click that if you want to support the channel, or you can just subscribe on the page. That always helps. If you have anything you want to say, just comment. Please, if you have criticism, make it constructive. And so, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, and hopefully start on that mock space elevator. Thanks.